And today, our topic is Free at Last, and the month's theme is Unchained Spirituality. Unchained was what he said, what Ernest Holmes said. Unchained means free. And so today, I want to begin with gratitude. I want to be grateful that we are all here, that we are alive, and we are well. Can you be grateful for that with me? I want to be grateful that we live in a country where we claim to be free. And we have inherited that freedom. We have not worked for it. We have not earned it. We did not fight for it. We are the generation that have inherited the freedom. I want to be grateful that we live in a country where we don't get arrested for our selfishness, our stupidity, or our lack of caring and compassion. And that came about because I saw this video yesterday, and it was this woman, and I don't know, they've given these, I guess this person, I don't know whether her name was Karen or not, but the video was titled something about Karen. At any rate, some of you saw it, huh? Okay. So for those of you who did not see it, Karen is an elderly woman. She was at Costco, and she was wearing a mask that was on one ear but not on the other. And the young lady at Costco asked her to put the mask on, on both ears, so over her face. And she had this. The video was like 4 minutes. Okay. So she had this argument with her. She didn't want to wear the mask. She had the mask, but she didn't want to wear the mask. And so they went back and forth. And finally, the woman goes and sits down in the aisle where people are leaving. I don't know if you know Costco, but there's like this whole big aisle, and you have to check out. You have to go to the person and they check your receipt, and then you walk out. And she sits down right where all of this elderly, the woman is gray haired and everything, and she just sits down. And so finally the young lady comes over and says, well, can you move so you'll be out of the way? So she gets up and she moves someplace else, and there's a cart there. And so I guess they have like now a cart where you can, sanitize your hands and everything. So she sits up with her back propped up against this cart. And it ends with her, with the manager coming over. A man came over to talk to her. I guess he was a manager. But she didn't get arrested for that. That was, I cannot even, and here's the thing. I was watching her get up. She needed to help herself get up. She couldn't just spring up like a 15-year-old. No, she had to push her hands on the ground and do all this stuff. And I was like, why would somebody do something like this? Why would you go through all this trouble? But the thing is we live in a country where she can do that. And we need to be grateful that we live in a country that she can do that. There are countries, I'm sure, that if she hadn't obeyed the rules that they had, they'd take her off to jail somewhere. But she lives in a country that allows her to act any old way she wants, to say whatever she wants. And all she's being asked to do in this one instance is to put on a mask to help other people, to be compassionate, to be caring. That's all she's being asked to do. And she's saying, no, I don't want to do that. I live in a country where I'm free to not be compassionate and caring. We are all born with one freedom. Do you know what that is? It's the freedom to love. Each one of us is born loving. Each one of us. When you were born, you are totally dependent. If somebody doesn't feed you, you don't eat. If somebody doesn't care for you, you don't live. If somebody doesn't hold you and caress you and give you attention, guess what? You do not live a healthy life. They already know that. They know that babies need to be hugged. People go into hospitals for children who don't have parents, or for whatever reason don't have anyone to care for them. They're going into foster care or whatever. And they ask people to come and just hold the babies and hug them because they need to be loved. You only have the capacity to love because that's all you can give. When we have been given life. It's free. It didn't come with any attachments, any rules, well, it came with some rules maybe, but no conditions. You came into this life, you breathed. And once you started breathing, you became dependent. God breathes you, but you are dependent on the people in the world to take care of you and make sure that you can live and thrive in this world. And the only thing you have to give back to them in return, in the beginning anyway, is love. Think about that. And it stays with us all of our life. We are free to give love or to condition our love. And some of us, we have grown up in families or in communities or wherever we grew up, and they were stingy with their love. They scolded us, they punished us, they did not support us, they took things away from us, they did things that traumatized us and made us feel that we were not worthy of being loved. And we thought, well, you know what? We don't think this maybe consciously, but somewhere in us, our love becomes conditioned. I will love you if you love me. I will love you if you will do this for me. So our love becomes something that we start to bargain with. And in doing so, we lose our freedom to love. Think about that. And so today, I want us to be grateful that we have the capacity to love and to realize that we can give love regardless of where it is that we are experiencing it in the world, and that it should not be conditioned on something else. Swami Chidananda said, life is always going to be work. You heard that about marriage, right? He's saying life is always going to be work, and there will always be some pain associated with it. Still, the basic resources you require to rise above the pain and to allow your life to be an expression of much more than the sum of all the painful components, those resources are free and present now. They are always present. And so be neither negative nor optimistic. Just be joyous in whatever it is that life requires you to do. Why? Because you have the power, you have the capability, you have the freedom, and you have enough love. You have enough love because how do we know that we have enough love? Because people love other people and they forgive, what happens with, all right, so here's what happens. We get hurt and we take that in and we do something with it, don't we? And then we realize that the hurt is hurting us, and we decide, well, I must forgive. What is forgiveness? It is returning to love. It is repairing a relationship. It is healing something that has been broken. In 2016, I went to Poland and with a friend, a couple of friends, and we were going to a workshop called Healing from War. World War II, people are still healing from that. Okay, all right. So we went to this. We went to Warsaw for a few days before we went to our workshop, which was outside of. I'm not going to even try to say the name of the city, but it was outside of Auschwitz. Birkenau which is the death camp. We went to that later while we were visiting there. But as I was walking through, we took two tours. One, we took a tour. With a man who showed us the Jewish sites and where the Jews had been held and the kinds of conditions that they were held in prior to going to the death camps. And he told us the whole history of all that happened from the very beginning to the end of of the war, 39, from 1939. Europe was in war from 1939 to 1944. Okay, so, and then we went to the communist sites because Poland, after World War II was over and everybody divided up everything that they thought that they wanted to divide up, because, you know, the victors get to divide up stuff. They divided up Turkey and they divided up Poland, and the Russians got part of Poland, and and the communist regime. It took them until 1989 to become free. When I was walking around the streets there are still bullet holes in buildings, and there are still signs on symbols of where the resistance were. And you know, and today, you know, with July 4th and everything, I was thinking, those people know what war is. We don't. We really don't. We have not had the experience of having our homes bombed. What happened, what we have dealt with is we've dealt with hurricanes that have destroyed homes. And, you know, and Puerto Rico, what they say, it looked like a war had happened there. Okay, so we have dealt with these natural disasters. We've dealt with hurricanes and tornadoes and fires and mudslides and earthquakes and all these natural disasters and floods, of course, that have destroyed. And what have we done? We've built up, haven't we? We've come back and we've said, you know what? The most important things here have not been gone. We are here and we can always rebuild. And that's what freedom is, the ability to keep rebuilding. And even in Poland, even with all that they had to suffer with, they have done what? They have rebuilt, because we as human beings are inherently free. And we inherently know how to come back from whatever it is that we have experienced. We know how to rebuild. We know how to love again when our love has been stepped on, when it has been destroyed, when it has been interfered with. We know how to forgive and to come back and to grow and expand and be more than what we were. And no matter what we have experienced, we always come back more, don't we? We always come back better. We always come back if we can still do what? Breathe. If we can still breathe. Remember what Lily just read. Part of it was, Ernest Holmes said, freedom already exists. It exists. It already is. Like truth and beauty, it exists, but it exists in an abstract and formless state. What does that mean? It's abstract and formless. It means that we have to make something out of it. It's like as if you had a bunch of clay, right? And here you got this clay. It has no form to it. You have to make something from it. And this is your life. You have, the minute you are born, life, breath is breathed into you. The ability to love is breathed into you. You have it. It's inherent in you. Your freedom to be all that you could possibly be is right there with you. But it is formless. And you have to create something out of it. That's what he's saying. Then he goes on to say, it can only take the form which thought gives it. Therefore, the thought of limitation creates the very limitation conceived by that thought. The lady in the store created a limitation. She created a limitation for herself when she sat down. She had the freedom to, but she had the freedom to do that, right? Do you see? That's what freedom is. She has the freedom to sit down if she wants. She has the freedom to wear a mask. She has the freedom not to wear a mask. She has the freedom to be who she wants. But all of that is in a formless state until we start thinking. And what is it we are thinking? What is our thought? Is it a thought of limitation, or is it a thought of opening and fullness and abundance and joy and love. He goes on to say, freedom and bondage are merely two ways of expressing a limitless possibility. Limitless. Limitless. That means we don't have, there's no lid on it. There's no top. It's open. Think of, you know, what is that? They used to do an experiment with, well, frogs are a good example. If you put frogs in cold water and put them on the stove, right? They will just sit there. And as the water gets warmer and warmer and warmer, they don't move. They just sit there. And they die when the water boils. Why? Because it is slowly, right, warmed up. And that's what happens to us sometimes. We get conditioned to being comfortable. And we are afraid to push past our limits. We live in a world that is limitless, but we continue to think in terms of limitation because we look around. And what do we see is what we have seen, and we don't move. We just simply sit in the hot water as it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And then we wonder why we are Karen sitting in a Costco store thinking that we have a limitation that we do not have. Do you see? We are living in the land of the free. But I want to tell you something. You cannot be free unless you are willing to let others be free too. It's freedom for everybody. And if we are one, if we are truly one, then my freedom is bound with your freedom. If I look at you and go like, nah, I think you belong, blah, 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 wherever, and I want to restrict you in some way, then guess what? I'm restricting myself too, because we are in the same freedom. God did not make you separate from me. God made us all one, each one of us. The love that we have is the love that we what? Share. We are all breathing the same air. Put us in a room with gas and we'll all die, right? It won't be like, well, if you are like this, you will die. And if you are like that, you will. It's just a matter of time when each one of us will die. Some of us will die sooner than others. But we will all die if we're all breathing the same gas. Do you see? So we all need the same air. We all need to be loved. We all need to be cared for. We all need to be compassionate. We all need to be free to be who we desire to be. And that's the wonderful thing, is that we get to choose how we are going to be. We get to choose. We don't have any limitations, but you know what? We set those limitations for ourselves, and in setting those limitations for ourselves, we harmoniously live together because no two of us want the same thing. Okay? All right? I'm looking at you right now. Look at each other on the screen. No two of you look the same. No two of your backgrounds are the same. Okay? No two of your lives are the same. Because each one of us has created our own freedoms and our own limitations based on the lives that we have lived. And guess what? No matter what happened yesterday, it does not have to limit us today. We are choosing to live yesterday and today and tomorrow the same. And when we stop choosing to live like that, when we decide to get out of the hot water, then we can move, take the lid off, right? We can jump out of the hot water and we can go, yes, this is life. But it's scary out there. It is. That's what Swami said. Swami said, it is. What did I do? I got rid of my screen. I did something to my screen. Anyway, if you can still see me, what Swami said is that life is difficult. It's painful. It's hard. But that's life. But Ernest Holmes tells us we are free, that it's limitless, that we can be all that we choose to be. So what's it going to be? It's your choice. Today is your choice. Choose to live a life of love and truth and beauty and abundance and whatever else that makes you happy. That's your choice. So let's take a moment and turn within. As we pause, we just simply allow ourselves to feel and know and experience the love that is within us, that love that is inherent within us, that love that we are free to experience and to express. And let us just take a moment to be grateful. Grateful that we don't have to work for it. We don't have to earn it. We don't have to inherit it. It's ours because we are who we are. It came with us with the very first breath that we breathed in this world. And it has never left us. It is God's love. And whether we are feeling it, experiencing it, or limiting it in any way, it is still there. Like the breath that we breathe every day, thousands of times a day. We don't even think about it. And yet it is there breathing us. God is breathing us, giving us life. And we are living, fortunately, right now without any kind of apparatus to help us breathe. We are breathing on our own. Let us be thankful for that. Let us be grateful that in this moment we are healthy and safe and well. And that the love that is God as us, we are free to accept as much of it as we can possibly embody and feel and experience and know for ourselves. And let us be grateful that we don't have to be stingy with it because it's not going to run out. And so therefore we can love anybody and everybody here, there, and everywhere. We can allow our lives to be filled with so much love that we cannot contain it. And we just simply bounce around from place to place, knowing that that love, wherever we are, is expanding, expressing, and being all that it can possibly be in us, through us, and as us. And it is coming in us, and we are free to live it, to experience it, and to give it wherever it is that we choose to give it and live it. But we begin with ourselves, knowing that the love is who we are. That is God expressing itself as us. And our freedom is the freedom to experience all the love that we can possibly feel and know and enjoy. And so this day we give thanks for that. We are so, so grateful for it. We accept that that love is ours. Accept it now in your own heart and your own mind. Accept now that love is who you are. That it came with you with your first breath, and it has never left you. And we are free to love and to be loved. And so with gratitude and thanksgiving for the knowing that this truth is unfolding in us and through us and as us right here and right now, I release this word now in blessing each and every one of us, blessing us to experience the love, the joy, the peace, the happiness, the abundance, the joy, everything, all the goodness that God has to offer, the wisdom that the Spirit within us is guiding and directing us each and every day to experience. We are open and receptive to it. And so with love, I release this word now, knowing that it is done in peace and in joy, individually and collectively. And so it is. Amen.